Welcome back. Shall we get my next guest out, ladies and gentlemen? I think you know what you've got coming. He's a true force of nature. Please welcome the fabulous Johnny Vega!
Do you hear that then under his breath? They always say it like they're angry. Pigeon-tipped.
Well, is that because you've done the adverts? Is that what you get?
Yeah, like I'm in some kind of denial.
OK, hey, this is exciting. This is the time of year when a lot of people bring books out. Johnny's got a book out. It's very, very different to the kind of book that normally a comedian or a TV person would write. Tell us about the idea behind this, because it is quite unique, I think.
It's becoming Johnny Vegas, but it's going back to me as Michael Pennington and plotting where Johnny came from.
So Johnny is, for you, Johnny Vegas, the comic persona we know, it does feel like a different person.
Well, it always felt like a different person. It always felt like there was a line in the sand. It was me, I'd put the flares on, I had the Celine Dion. But yeah, look at that.
See, when I first saw photographs, I didn't know that was a perm. I thought that was what your hair was, unfortunately, like, but...
It's technically not a perm, it's a demi-wave. Only people in the business would know.
So why did you have that done?
I had it done because this guy who lived in my head went, we should have a perm. We really should go out and get something. If women aren't going to look at us, we should have a reason for women not to look at us. And the best reason for women not to look at you is to have a perm. If you're not a footballer from the 1970s.
But here's the thing. I think if a lot of people had The Voice in their head or something like that, they would try and fight against it. They wouldn't embrace it. And yet you chose to follow that path and embrace him. Were you not tempted to try and sort of push it away?
I did, but I had very little to sort of associate with. I went away from a young age. I trained for the priesthood. That was a massive shift in my life, and then when I left there and people are going, he's that priest boy, he's the weirdo. This voice was the only person who seemed to understand me, and it didn't feel strange to have this voice in my head. And it wasn't something, it wasn't telling me to go out and start fires.
No.
You know what I mean? There was nothing bad enough happening. He was just a bloke walking around, sort of going, you know what I'll say to him if I ever get the chance. And then one day, eventually, you pick up a microphone and somebody goes, oh, you fat gay, and he goes, let me tell you what I know about you, what I've been watching and waiting.
So it freed you to unleash the comic kind of force within, or the kind of the observational force within?
Well, he wasn't even a comic force within. He was just that bloke going, I'm sick of you taking crap. He was like a little Mr. Miyagi. Yeah. But he never taught me how to fight.
Perm on, perm off.
Yeah.
The booze as well.
Scrunch! Diffuser!
You know what, I don't think I never saw Johnny Vegas live as Johnny Vegas, the whole show. And it was quite a unique series. I mean, a lot of the time, early on, you would be completely drunk on stage, wouldn't you?
Not drunkish.
So
Drunk to... What extent do you consider drunk?
I don't know. I mean, I think if you can't remember a lot of what you've done the night before, then I would say that's drunk.
That's schoolyard stuff.
Okay.
It's when you wake up and there's blood on your hands and it doesn't smell like yours. There's drinking to an extent where it's almost touching on being a werewolf. Yeah. That was Johnny drunk. My drunk was sort of... I love a drink.
And you still like a drink, and you're happy with the amount you drink?
I enjoy drinking now. I don't drink to work now. I've spent the last...
Because I remember having you on shows years and years ago, and you would turn up with a carrier bag of beer, and you'd have a few before you came on stage. Quite a few.
Then you're waiting for the shocked reaction from me.
But it was an unusual thing to encounter, and there weren't many people like that. So when you were doing Johnny Vegas...
We went through a really weird thing in this country of you were a character. You know, like Hurricane Higgins and people like that, and then suddenly it was get ye to the Priory. Yeah. Whereas I grew up in St Helens, where it was like everyone likes a drink, everyone likes a bit of fun. You know what I mean? It's not a case of it being a problem. But then when you reach a level of notoriety, you are then everybody's national champion. And Andy won at Wimbledon, I won at Guinness. Yeah.
And there's lots of stories in the book about your family as well, which I love. Telling about growing up. And there's a photograph you put on Twitter of you and your mum Was this at a wedding? There you go. Look at this. That's a great picture.
This was last weekend. See, my mum... She got so drunk. We were sat around the table. I love this with my mum and dad. We do. We go out and we have a laugh, and especially at a family wedding. But she sat at the table and she got so hammered, she thought she was taking her glasses off and she took her teeth out. And she couldn't figure out why she couldn't read the menu. She stood there holding her teeth doing that.
Well, you know, it must be very different, though. I was thinking about the way... Because you've got a son. How old is your son now? Is he 10?
He's 10 now.
OK, so you must have a very different childhood than the one you had, I would have thought. Or maybe not.
Huge. I mean, that is the... God, it's really weird. That's the first picture where I took him out to a public do. You know what I mean? I've done everything to sort of keep him away from this notion of your dad's, for want of a worse word, famous.
Yeah.
It is, I'm your dad as Michael Pennington. And that was a big thing about writing the book is, I feel like I'm Michael Pennington now, not Johnny Vegas.
So you reclaimed who you were? I
had to for this. I couldn't attempt to raise him and be Johnny Vegas. I wanted to be the dad that I had and the dad that he deserved. And the dad he deserved was one that could remember, you know what I mean? Rather than trying to be everything to everyone else, he deserved somebody where he knew that he mattered. And to Johnny, nobody mattered but Johnny. So there was a point of pulling it back and going...
Well, that makes perfect sense. We have one of the greatest singers in the world with us this evening. You do a bit of karaoke, I believe. Is this right?
I do lots of karaoke.
OK, but I hear you do one particular thing, karaoke. You do a thing where you do a duet, but you do both the male and the female parts. You Don't Bring Me Flowers. I've heard you do a very good You Don't Bring Me Flowers, which is one of my favourite songs. I love Streisand. I love Neil Diamond.
Johnny used to do it where he would rip off half his clothes, just so you could see the difference between... You know, it's just that classic, you turn,
okay, well,
turn, you use the voice.
Do you want to do a bit of it now? Shall we see a bit of this now? Would you like to see I can draw a moustache on one side if you want.
OK.
Put your back to the crowd. Let me make one side of your face more masculine and the other face will alone. Which side do you want to be the man?
You know what? He was always the left.
OK, so you're left this side. So this is the man.
I don't know. Okay, but Neil Diamond, do it like jazz singer. You know what he's been on the road for a bit. How much are you drawing on?
Just make it...
I'm Neil Diamond, I'm not...
On this side, just one beauty spot. Boom. OK, now hold on. I've got a microphone for you.
I haven't seen this.
OK, here we go. Now, so there's a microphone for you. I don't know if it's meant to be working. OK, and do we have some music going? Please do, but don't go the full whip half off.
Look, I've got a vest. Hang on.
OK, I'll get the microphone back on for you.
No, I'm going to put that back on.
Oh,
what
okay,
are you doing? Jesus, you've got no idea. Yes. You've got no idea about cross-dressing karaoke, have you?
I'm a noob. OK. All right, here we go.
Jeez, I promise you, this is not going to be worth the wait. This would have been in a couple of minutes. Imagine that's Barbara and she's let herself go a bit. You don't bring me flowers. You don't sing the love song. Hardly talk to me anymore. When you come to the door at the end of the day, I remember when you couldn't wait to love me. You used to hate to leave me. Now I'm loving you. Day to night, I'm outside. Well, it's good for you, babe. When you're feeling alright, well, you just roll over and turn out the light. You don't bring me flowers. You don't sing the love song. He was a moody bastard when he got in. Hours anymore.
Quite the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. ladies and gentlemen. That's about all we've got time for. Thanks to all my guests tonight.